No kinship, no peace. No kinship, no justice. No matter how singularly focused you may well be on those two worthy goals, they won't happen unless there's kinship. A deep and a pervasive sense that somehow we are in this together, that there is no us and them. It's just us. And that we obliterate once and for all the illusion that we're separate. And so our task always is to bridge any kind of space there is between us. It was one of the great privileges of my life to know Cesar Chavez, and I remember once a reporter was commenting to him. He said, "Wow, these farm workers, they sure love you." And he shrugged and he smiled and he said, "It's mutual." And that's sort of what we're aiming for, is a mutuality in kinship, where there is no space. We seek a compassion that can stand in awe at what the poor have to carry, rather than stand in judgment at how they carry it. So, at a place like Pepperdine, everybody, of course, is dedicated to service and Christian service. But there's even distance in service, if you think about it. You know, it's service provider, service recipient. You want to bridge even that. You also want to acknowledge that service is the hallway. It don't stop. It's supposed to get you to the ballroom, which is kinship. I remember there was a homie named Caesar. Everybody called him Dreamer, and he was a little knucklehead gang member in the Pico Gardens housing projects, and I watched him grow up there. And very funny kid, dangerous sense of humor. Got into a gang and in and out of being locked up, mainly selling drugs, using drugs mainly. And this one time nobody's been employed more through Homeboy, I suppose, than this guy Caesar. And so this one time he finished like an 8-month stretch in prison for a violation, and he came out and he says what homies often say, "This time it'll be different." I said, all right. So I call a friend of mine who runs a vending machine company in Alhambra, and he hires him right away. Well, 2 weeks later, Caesar's in my office and he's proudly waving his very first paycheck. And he goes, "Damn, gee, this paycheck makes me feel proper." I mean, my mom, she's proud of me, and my kids, they're not ashamed of me, and, well, you know who I have to thank for this job. And I said, "Gosh, who?" And he looked at me strangely and he said, "Well, God, of course." I said, "Oh, sure, yeah. No, that's right, yeah, God." And he said, "You thought I was going to say you, didn't you?" I said, "No, gosh, God's absolutely number one, yeah." He said, "You are so lucky we're not living in them Genesis days." I'm sorry, them Genesis days? He goes, "Yeah, because God would have had struck down your ass already by now," he says. We fall out of our chairs. We're just dying laughing. And I defy you to identify who is the service provider and who is the service recipient. It's mutual. It's mutual.